Hello guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at another game, a very crazy game that was played in round 1 of the Kenya National Championship. And it was a really big cold shower to Hilary Sagwa, because considering the rating difference, Davidson Mugo is like 1237 and Sagwa is 1806. So it's a crazy game, it's a very attacking game. Considering, I mean, you just hear the name Hilary Sagwa and you expect a crazy game. The guy plays very beautiful chess. He plays amazing chess. And here, Davidson Mugo, the 11 or 12-year-old, I'm not too sure, was really up to the task. So let's see what happened in the game. Pawn to e4 by Davidson, and now knight to c6, knight to f3, pawn to e5, and now bishop to b5, going for the it's a different move order, but then just arrives at the Rui Lopez opening, and now bishop to c5. This is a very nice idea. Maybe transposing it might even lead to some lines like the Archangel variation of the Rui Lopez and stuff like that. I'm mentioning the Archangel because it's one of the most popularized lines of the Rui Lopez, famously popularized by Fabiano Caruana. And yeah, if you can try and study it, I think it's one of the openings that you can reply to anything that white does in the Rui Lopez. So now pawn to c3. Let's get back to the game. And now knight to f6, attacking the pawn on e4. So pawn to d3, just defending it. Queen to e7, kind of showing his hand a little bit that he's probably going to maybe try and castle queenside and launch something nasty on the king side. So here castles, pawn to a6, asking the bishop of where it wants to sit, and now Davidson just trades the bishop off and captures the pawn on e5. So this is not a hanging piece, because then pawn to d4 here, and it forks the bishop and the queen. And after pawn takes on c5, queen takes back, Davidson Mugo regains his piece. And now here bishop to e3 by Davidson, attacking the queen with some tempi. Queen to b5, attacking the pawn on b2 and the pawn on e4 at the same time. So queen to c2, just defending everything. So the pawn on e4 is attacked by the knight, not the queen. So yeah, bishop to d7 now, maybe showing ideas of castling queenside here, but then pawn to a4, just grabbing some space and pushing the queen around. Queen to e5, and now just knight to d2, continuing with development. Knight to d2, continuing with development, and now knight to g4 by Hilary Sagwa. Knight to f3, knight takes on e3, pawn takes back, and now queen to e7. The queen has been moving around a bit too much for my taste, but then nothing too crazy going on. Hilary Sagwa is still holding it. He's still playing, I think, a beautiful game. And now knight to d4, pawn to g6, just stopping any knight jumps into f5. And now pawn to b4, grabbing more space in the queen side, and sort of daring Hillary to castle on the queen side, because then it's I think a little bit too dangerous to do it. So castles king side by Hilary Sagwa, and now rook a to d1, rook a to e8, and now knight back to e2, bishop to g4 by Hilary, and now rook to f4, just challenging the bishop, and the bishop moves all the way back to c8. So now the rooks are defended for black. The rooks are connected for black. The bishop sits on c8, not too bad. The queen is in e7, is developed, looking very nice. And white has these two doubled pawns at the center. Right now they cannot be attacked easily, and the knight on e2 is yet to find like a perfect place to sit. The rook on d1 can be developed, maybe adding more firepower to the f file and stuff like that. So nothing too crazy, both players having a good game. I think their openings have kind of worked at this point. And knight to g3 now by Davidson Mugo. Knight to g3, trying to find some clever ways of development. And now pawn to c5, just breaking the queen side and trying to relieve himself of the doubled pawns on the c file, and maybe try and create something on the queen side. So rook d to f1, doubling up on the f file, and the idea is that you can't really, I don't think you can really capture here, because then you capture, we capture back, and then the pawn on c7 is hanging. We can also maybe try and play something like pawn to e5 with that discovery if you take back with the queen, and then jump in with our knight, and scary stuff will happen. So bishop to e6 by Hilary Sagwa, and now pawn to e5, just adding more defense to the pawn on b4. Bishop to d5, and I think this bishop to d5 move was premature in this position. Maybe trying something like maybe capturing first, and after taking back, now playing bishop to d5. The idea that maybe you're going to play something like pawn to c6, just cement this bishop at the center and take control of the entire diagonal, and maybe cause some problems. Because now with what happened in the game, bishop to d5 being played prematurely gave Davidson Mugo this move c4, and the bishop has to move away from there. You can't really go to c6 because then your bishop gets tossed around a little bit too much. So Hilary Sagwa here played bishop back to e6, and now knight to e4, just activating the knight, finding a very perfect square for it on f6, and maybe on d6 if allowed, if maybe the pawn is moved, and now bishop to f5. And I think this was the losing move that Hilary Sagwa played, because the idea is solid, the idea is actually practical, the idea is to pin this knight to its own queen. But then with the arrangement of these rooks on the f file, that bishop is a little bit too sweet to be left untouched. So here, maybe instead of playing bishop to f5, maybe play something like c takes on b4. Then after knight to f6 check, playing something like king to g7, and if something like maybe queen to f2 is played, trying to bring your queen to the king side, you can even play rook to h8 and continue with this game where nothing is really going on. The game is actually equalish, and the pawn on b3 is actually going to become a very awkward pawn to handle. You can even play maybe something like pawn to a5 and cement it for the moment, then prepare to move it to push it to promotion later on. So here after bishop to f5, I think the game is lost because Davidson Mugo found the sacrifice rook takes on f5. Here Hilary Sagwa played g takes f5, and now knight to f6 with check. So in this position, I think the best move is to just part ways with your queen and try and survive the ordeal that is coming. But then here Hilary Sagwa played rook to g7, and the game is just completely winning for Davidson Mugo. So Davidson Mugo found queen takes on f5, obvious move. Rook to h8 was played by Hilary Sagwa, trying to hold on. There isn't really a move to play in this position, but I think rook to h8 was played because then Hilary was banking on the idea that maybe the kid wouldn't find the best moves. But in this position, just rook to g5 with check, king went all the way to f8, and now queen to h6 with mate. And this was round one. Crazy. Davidson Mugo 12:37 beat Hilary Sagwa, and it was a very cold shower for Hilary and many other players, especially in round 2 and 3 and 4, I think. So yeah, Davidson Mugo is playing a brilliant game. He finished the tournament gaining 100.4 elos, I think, somewhere around there. Crazy player. He played against the best players, I think, in not really the best players, but I think he played against considerably tough opponents, and he beat them, including Collins Young and stuff like that. So yeah, brilliant game by him. Very beautiful execution, to say the least. And finding that rook takes in a5 sacrifice. These are the sacrifices that you should be looking for in your games, because then what are your rooks for? You can maybe, these are some of the ideas that I also look for in some of my games, trying to sacrifice your rook for something great. So yeah, that was the game, Davidson Mugo versus Hilary Sagwa. Crazy game as it was, and I'm going to try and find some other games from this kid. Very brilliant. He was actually gifted a chessboard by Gethenji, the guy from Mini Chess Kenya, and yeah, I think one of the greatest talents in Kenya at the moment, this kid Davidson Mugo. So yeah, this game was shared to me by a subscriber and the coach, actually the coach to Davidson Mugo, and I think it deserved an extra eye or extra eyes. So yeah, this was the game. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. If you have games that you'd like to share, just hop into the description. I have my email up on there, and you can maybe try and contact me for that. And also, yeah, that is it. Anything else you can do, maybe trying to donate to the channel and stuff like that, you can also find my email where you can contact me and we can talk about it. So yeah, this was it. Crazy game by Davidson Mugo. I'm going to try and find the other games that he beat the other players, but I think this was the biggest upset of the tournament. So hope you have an amazing rest of your week.